It's it's kind of like your story. You kind of had that calling, if you would say, something that just spoke to you eternally, and I think it came from my heart. Something was telling me, driving me more so to go to Ukraine to try to help, and just kind of like that little voice that you were talking about that kept on saying, no, you can't go.
Yeah.
Trying to fight that feeling, trying to fight it, and that's exactly what happened with me. Something was telling me I have to go, I have to try to go help, and then I've been doing photography for about 4 years, so I wanted to document what was going on in Ukraine as well. And something said help and document, those two things, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know um, exactly what was going to happen, but um, I followed my heart, and I just remember like looking when I was researching to go to Ukraine, going through Poland first. I was like, man, maybe I need a visa. I probably can't go. It's gonna be too late, and it turns out you don't need a visa for 90 days. I'm like, oh my god, okay. So then, just a lot of things till till that page of the flight of me buying before I purchased the flight. I had already researched the flight and everything, and I was on that page, and I just remember telling myself that if I buy this plane ticket to Poland to go to eventually make my way to Ukraine, like that's it. Like there's no turning back from here on out. So that's just kind of what I did, and um, for me, it's the best experience ever. Um, and as you could tell, like the whole world was at this little place in Ukraine, at the border between Poland and Ukraine. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was never that that busy. But so many people from all over the world were there to try to help and try to console all these women and children that were fleeing, and the elderly as well. But when I was at the border, I made my way from Poland all the way down to the border. I was there for a good week and a half, I believe, maybe almost 2 weeks. That same voice that was telling me to go to Ukraine, that same voice was telling me to go to Lviv. I don't know why I needed to go to Lviv. I had no idea what was out there, but what you didn't know is that I was testing the waters when I met you. I was testing the waters going to the border, just inching a little bit, inching, and yeah. So I mean, for you to do what you did with the cart in 6 hours, and I did it for, I believe the longest I did was on the line for was like about 3 hours, 3 hours, a little bit more than 3 hours. But I mean, Joe, like you gave me the boost and the confidence, and just kind of like, yeah, we could do this, all of us together. And when you were talking about the whole Google Translate, that it's so difficult because especially the older generation, they don't they don't know English and they don't really speak English. They didn't learn it in school. It's more so the younger generation, so it's a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, we kind of used our gestures, our hands. Let me help you with your bags and everything. I know going all mixed and everything, but basically, I made my way to Lviv. Finally, I took a bus, and then I was in Lviv for one day, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. I had a contact that I was supposed to meet at the train station and try to help at this baby room, but he never messaged me back, and I was just a little confused. And at night, I went upstairs to they have like a kitchen at this hostel, and I heard some people speaking Spanish. These two guys, and I turned, and they said, "Do you speak Spanish?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, so I speak a little bit of Spanish. It's not the best, but they were like, "Okay, let me buy you. Let's get you a coffee. We want to know your story." One of the guys was a humanitarian, originally from Argentina, but he lives in Norway. He's lived here for 10 years. And the other gentleman, he was a journalist from Costa Rica. and he was on Univision. He's been on like CNN Latino and a lot of these other stations. So we were just talking, and they wanted to do a story on me, or like just follow me, kind of how we would do it at the border. And so the next day we went to the border. Uh, the Norwegian, he has a car, so we used his vehicle, and we've been using his vehicle. So we went to the border. I went across this just the same way as we used to do it, and I was helping, and I saw this lady with the kids and got her bags and let's go, and just helped her all the way through, and it was great. They filmed it, towards the end of the border, going to on the
Yeah.
Polish side, and so yeah, we got a little documentation of everything, and I spoke a little bit, and I after everything was said and done, we went back to Lviv, and I was talking to Martin. Martin's the Norwegian, and Hector is the journalist from Costa Rica. So I was talking to Martin, and I told him, I'm like, look, I don't know if you're a part of our organization, but I would really love to join you, and I'm a photographer also, and I want to help. And they were like, yeah, we're not part of an organization, it's just us, so why not? So I ended up, we built a whole team, and we, we were, we made our way, I want to say, if not the next day, then 2 days after us meeting, we met with this Ukrainian girl. She plays the bandura. It's a special instrument from Ukraine, and so we were, invited her to kind of. He met her before at the line at the train station, and invited her, and she was up for it. So we all headed to Kiev, and from Kiev we met a church organization that they were going to help evacuate people from Chernihiv. So we ended up just going to Chernihiv. We no sleep, no sleep. We went straight to Chernihiv, which is, I want to say, about, I don't know, it's a whiles away. It's a whiles away. And from there we just started seeing all the devastation, and we were in the Chernihiv region for about 10 days. Uh, the first day, we saw a tank in the front yard of a house. I mean, that was just like, welcome to Ukraine, the bad side. Lviv, it's more like people on holiday. The sirens going off, but nobody's panicking. Everybody's going about their business. In Kiev, it's there's not as many people. They said about maybe only 20% of the population that were in Kiev are still there, but the majority of the population, they evacuated, and it seemed like a lot of people, if they didn't evacuate to Poland, they're in Lviv. It's a little bit safer-ish, I guess, but in Chernihiv, we did see a lot of bad things, a lot of houses destroyed, and you just see the civilian side. It's not even military, it's civilians, cars destroyed, houses. Also, we went to go help. Well, we got invited to go help this volunteer soldier. Her name is Lena, and she was taking us to some burial grounds. We helped dig out a father and daughter. The father and the daughter was 12 years old. Their remains, we had to dig out the remains. You can't really tell. You just see the torso because it was all burnt and just crisp. But we had to take the remains out, put them in a plastic bag so that they could use it for autopsy for war crimes. And that was my first wake up call. Like, wow, okay, and just I just remember staring at the body, and I didn't see a head, I didn't see really much, but I'm just trying to make sense of everything. And um, the lady soldier asked me something, and our translator, the Ukrainian girl, she goes, hey, she wants to know if you're scared, and I said, no, I'm not scared. I'm just, for me, I'm just trying to assess the situation. What is this? Like, I've never seen this before. Um, and so she's like, oh, right when I said, no, I'm not scared, she's like, okay, come with me. So we went to another body, and yeah, there's multiple. So basically, in this situation, there was a car, and the Russians were just shooting the car until it exploded. And we went to so many different places where it was just like that, where they were just shooting civilians no reason, for no reason at all. They were just attacking civilians, and it's not just like artillery or missile strikes. It's literally you see people, see a kid in a car, and until it explodes. And there was multiple cases where that has happened. So that was just like our first experience, and it just kind of was going on from there on. We did make our way to Chernihiv, the actual city of Chernihiv, because we were just around the region, and finally we met somebody from the church. We were working with a lot of pastors that wanted to document what was going on. We wanted to show the rest of the world what was going on. Um, one person from the church was willing to help us and took us all around Chernihiv and so many block posts. They call it block posts, but it's like checkpoints. Like you go 5 minutes, there's another checkpoint. You have to show your passport, and we finally made it there, and that was probably one of the worst places that we saw. I mean, just a soccer field just completely destroyed. You see the craters where all of these bombs were just hit. I mean, a soccer field for what? I don't know, but it's just everything seems very senseless. Just trying to destroy the whole culture. If not the people, then the whole culture, and just trying to strike terror. But all the Ukrainians that we've seen, they're very, very strong people, and I think you noticed the same thing. I mean, they were just very strong. And after our trip around Chernihiv, the last day before we headed to Kiev, we went to Bucha. Um, we actually interviewed the mayor of Bucha because of there's a lot of raping going around, and not just women, not just kids, but they're raping men also, and a lot of war crimes that were being um, uh, assessed, I guess. And right before we met somebody that was helping us and translate, and he was with the mayor, and he showed me a video. He was like, "This is a couple hours before I met you." And you can see this mass grave of just bodies and plastic bags and just hands, and it was just really disturbing. Um, so finally, we ended up making our way back to Kiev. We were in Kiev for a few days, and it was like inside the capital. Like you could see the Capitol building right from our hostel, and so we knew we weren't safe. But a couple of days after we left, we ended up. It ended up getting the bombs in Kiev, and we went to Lviv, and we were in Lviv for I want to say about 3 or 4 days, and I had to go to Poland to get my suitcase from the Red Cross. When I came back, it was a long line. It was like a whole day to go to Poland at Rzeszów and then come back because we were gonna we were gonna head to Norway where I'm at right now. But when I came back to Lviv, I was there at the train station about 5 in the morning, and at 7 in the morning, the bombs hit. Those missile strikes hit at 7. So I feel like, and we've heard explosions in the Chernihiv regions, in the surrounding areas, but that was one of those reasons. I don't know if you got my text, but I was saying like I felt guilty for going to for trying to make that trip to Norway. But after those missile strikes, I'm like, okay, I think I need a little break, a little breather. I just need 7 days of just normalcy, and I got my smile back, and I feel a little bit better. We got here to Norway today, but we were in Sweden yesterday, and so feel a little bit better today, but yeah, that's just a little bit of the recap.